Well, I'm so excited to introduce you all to Sarita Khalsa. She's a chronic pain coach, and there's a lot that you can learn from her. I read her book, and there's times I was in tears. She is so courageous and brave, and she's going to share with you some really important parts of her journey. I'm Mirella del Mondo. I'm a women's transformation and freedom coach. You've had to be dealing with pain for so many years, and you know, being in constant pain, no matter how positive you are, can really affect you emotionally. I mean, so many people go through depression, through anxiety, through substance abuse. You know, some people end up with personality disorders. It can get that
absolutely
affects the pain. So I want you to speak a bit to that too. How chronic pain affects the emotional body, and how you've been dealing with it and getting through it, because you've had to deal with it for a long time.
Exactly. So for me, unfortunately, very unfortunately, it became a part of my psyche, if you will. So I got very used to it, and if anything came along, it was just brushed off. You know, to the point where I couldn't even tell what was causing it anymore, because it was second nature to me. If I wasn't in pain, that was abnormal. Luckily, I didn't use substances to try and deal with it, but I did go through depression and anxiety majorly. I still suffer from depression and anxiety, so I do take antidepressants. I don't ditch doctors. So I am a holistic pain relief coach, and what that means is I work together with every aspect that there is to try and get the best result for my clients. And, you know, be that natural therapies, be that clinical therapies, everything combined is what makes us, you know, feel normal again. And that's what it's about. So I was very lucky that I had I used a lot of healings. I used a lot of chiropractic. I used osteos. I used, hydrotherapy, physios, as well as my GP, psychologists, you name it. I went to absolutely everybody going, help me. I need to get out of this situation that I'm in, because if I don't get out, then where does that take me instead? And when I had my stroke, that was my big wake-up call to go, well, I've been teaching clients. So since my nursing days, because I specialised in brain injury, so I'd been doing the same thing for 23 years. I had been teaching people about brain injuries and about the emotional body and, you know, how pain affects us, but I hadn't worded it in that way. So since I've written my book, which I've got right here, Love Your Pain, How I Found Myself After Chronic Illnesses, and you can too. So since I wrote that book, I decided to rebrand my business and focus more on the chronic pain of any description, because as we said before, Mirella, you know, it does affect our emotional body, which then it dominoes into our finances, it dominoes into our relationships, it dominoes into our work life. It affects every single part of our life if we don't deal with ourselves.
And one thing that stands out in the title is Love Your Pain, and I think also when we fight the pain, it's a lot harder. There comes a point of there has to be the journey of acceptance, because when there's no acceptance, the pain is even more intense. You know, it intensifies the pain. So
that's right. That's right, and that's what people don't understand.
Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, look, I came up with the name because I am about loving. And, you know, I come from a place of love within myself for whatever I do. And like I said, I'd been doing counselling since. So the car accident that I had in 2006 killed my nursing career, and I went into counselling instead. So that was brilliant. I was able to counsel people, you know, using the mode of love. And that's where the healing came from. So when I started the pain journey, you know, like you said, it is very much an acceptance, because the more we fight something, the more it works against us. So we want our chronic pain to work for us, not against us. And if it's working for us,
that old saying, what you think about is what you bring about. So if you're going to think
absolutely
more about pain, that's what you're going to get more of.
Correct. But, you know, if you have a good friend, a loyal friend, and this is how I explain it, they're not going to hurt you. A loyal friend does not hurt you. So if you learn to accept your pain and it becomes a friend, because let's face it, we have chronic illnesses, they're not going to go away. That's the bottom line. Illnesses do not go away, but chronic pain does. It doesn't need to be in our system. All chronic pain is a nerve in our brain that's misfiring after a certain period of time, because it's gotten used to the pattern. So all we need to do is switch that pattern and go, okay, we're going to fix that nerve. Easier said than done. We can't do it on our own.
So I just want to check in. So you're saying we've kind of got to rewire, like they say that we have neural pathways, habitual ways of thinking that keep us feeling or experiencing the same thing, and by rewiring the neural pathways, we can actually shift the experience that we're in.
Absolutely. It is very simple once you know how. And that's literally, so over the 23 years, I've created strategies that initially I was teaching my clients, and then I actually started using on myself.
I remember you talking in the groups and everything about certain ways to get out in life when you're in pain, because often when we're in pain, we tend to isolate and not want to be with other people because of how we feel. And I remember in your book too, Sarita's book is amazing. You have to get a copy. It's a fabulous book. And I remember there was a lot of strategies also about how to relate differently to people around you. There was mindset, and it was different decisions around, you know, coming out versus isolating. And I remember that was so valuable.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad. Look, that is a really big point, and it certainly was for me. You know, people ask me now, what have you done? Why, you know, how come you're looking so radiant? What's changed? And it's because I started using my strategies on myself. And of course, they don't work overnight, but you see the results over time. And then when people haven't seen you for so long, they see the difference. You can see the difference in your physical being because your emotional body is so much healthier. So everything is connected to your emotions. And what I talk about with, like you're saying, you know, getting out and actually reconnecting with the world is what it is. So you're not so isolated. The strategy that I suggest in my book is actually connect with Facebook groups of, you know, for example, the illnesses that you've got. You know, for me, I'm blind, so I would join up with a vision impaired group in my area and actually go out with someone who's dealing with the same issues as me, so I'm not feeling inferior to them. Right. You know, if we go out with a friend, then there's always that, they're going to judge me, they might think I'm a burden, you know, there's always expectations. Yes, they love me, but I don't want to put my expectations on them and so forth. But if we're going out with somebody, you know, and by going out, it could be just meeting at one or the other's house for a drink or a coffee or whatever it may be. You know, it doesn't have to be elaborate. Go watch a movie, you know, and yes, that sounds a bit ironic for a lot of people who are hearing me say blind, but blind people do go watch movies because there's still the volume and there's still the sensation to movies. And not every blind person is zero vision, which is a misconception that a lot of people have. But certainly, you know, get out with like-minded people, get out with people who are actually feeling the same as you. And the best way, Facebook has given us so many opportunities to get out in the world and spread our message and get help. Don't do it on your own, because that's where people are going wrong. They're just laying in bed going, I can't do this on my own.
I don't want to give it all away. You've really got to read the book to get it properly. But I remember you were saying different ways to relate to your partner and you know, and other people. You've just got to communicate in different ways because they don't always get you. And I mean, there's so many valuable tools. But just a couple of tips that you would recommend for anyone in pain or even dealing with someone in their life close to them who is in chronic pain.
Absolutely. So I'm going to continue where we were talking about before about the partner or someone, you know, close to you and not communicating properly. And what I say in my book and what I teach my clients is talk their language. So you always need to talk in the other person's language. So that's number one from me today. Learn what the other person understands. It's not about what you understand. It's about what the other person understands.